For those of us who live in the cities, when we think about where our food comes from, this is probably what comes to mind.
这个芒果是从印尼来的，阿根廷、马来西亚，这是中国。
But these papayas, oranges, and mangoes come from all over the world. But these weren't just picked overnight and shipped here. For this fresh produce, it's a battle to make it out of the supply chain in one piece, if at all. In Asia, up to 40% of food is lost after harvest during handling and storage, never even making it to the shops at all.
If you look at India, we have around 30 to 40% of food waste is occurring in the supply chain. It means that every week, every family in India can be gifted with 5 kg of fruit and vegetable packet free of cost if we save these losses.
In this episode, we ask the questions, why is so much waste occurring in the supply chain before food even reaches our plates?
Onion absorb the moisture. The appearance will be little bit less than what in dry condition.
We witness some farmers are throwing their crops to the river because they are being frustrated.
And can these folks actually make a difference in stopping this waste? Onions, the staple in almost any Indian dish. Tons are grown, shipped across the country and to overseas markets every day. The problem traders face? India's erratic weather.
अब होता ये है कि भाई अभी इस साल जो है तो बारिश ज़्यादा हुआ, बहुत ज़्यादा बारिश से किसान का बहुत नुकसान हुआ.
Onion absorb the moisture, so it looks the appearance will be little bit less than what in dry condition. In potato, if water touches it, or it may get rotten after 2 days or 3 days.
Tons of produce end up rotting because farmers don't have the proper storage facilities. Nor are there any during the long route to the market, nor at the distribution or wholesaler centers.
Generally, within 24 hours, same day, we sell it. Keeping in cold storage or storeroom is not advisable because the electricity rents are higher here.
ऐसा बहुत मतलब होता है कि भाई आपका ये माल जो तो डैमेज हो गया, वो तो फेंकना ही पड़ता है, वो फेंक देते हैं.
But what if all this could be prevented right after harvesting? In rural India, refrigeration is rare because electricity is expensive. So how do you stop produce from spoiling in hot and wet weather?
We are actually taking out the moisture from them, and because of that, it gives them the extended shelf life from 1 year to 2 years also.
Science for Society, a social enterprise started by a group of university friends, came up with these special dehydrators. The real genius of it?
Drying with the use of solar energy.
साल काढ्यावर त्याचं देठ कापतो, देठ कापल्यावर त्याचं बूड पण कापून घेतो आम्ही, नंतर धुवून घेतो पाण्यात.
S4S buys up produce such as onions, turmeric, ginger, garlic and potatoes from farmers and sends it to be processed in villages nearby.
नंतर मग या असे टाकतो आम्ही गिरणीमध्ये. मग आम्ही ना
After washing and slicing, onion pieces are loaded into a fan dryer, which operates on minimal electricity.
या असा ट्रे घेतो मग बाहेर, ट्रे बाहेर घेतल्यावर या असा आम्ही ट्रेवर टाकतो कांदा.
Then the slices are placed in a solar dehydrator for 4 hours.
सोलरमधलं चांगलं आहे कारण की सोलरमध्ये वरली म्हणजे काही घाण पण जात नाही आणि ते FPDमध्ये सुकविल्यामुळे जेवढं जीवनसत्व राहतं लसणात, हळदीत, अद्रकीत ते तसंच राहतं आणि बाजूला जर हवेत वाळलं तर त्याचे जीवनसत्व म्हणजे
The key features of this product is it maintains the nutrition, one of the highest in the globe, and it makes the product as good as a fresh product.
The final step.
This is our sorting and grading section. Here we look out for any foreign particle in our material that we have received from the fields.
This S4S processing factory grades, sorts, and properly packs the onions.
We have a special polymers. These are the special packaging material which allow maintenance of the freshness and the nutrients. These are oxygen and moisture proof packaging.
The onions go out to over 700 customers, including Nestle, Indian Railways, hotels and restaurants all across the country.
Myself Naresh Katti. I am in this restaurant field for last 23 years.
Naresh used to have major problems with the onions he got from the markets.
The lower part of the things mostly get totally rotten, so I used to throw it. So the wastage in the raw material was much more.
When S4S approached him to try their dehydrated onions, he wasn't convinced.
Major thing is the regular eaters here. People are eating for lot fast. For 40 years is coming regularly. If I try something there in the input, obviously he'll come and tell what has happened today.
But when Naresh served them gravy made with dried onions,
My customers they never showed any difference. I myself tasted it, my chef tasted it, everyone said it's good.
S4S's innovative model of reducing food loss could be what the rest of the farming world needs.
In every other state and even every other third world country, same issues they face because lack of processing. The produce go west. It's a global issue. The scale is huge. The potential for the impact is also huge.
For now, S4S is looking to grow their business with mentorship from DBS Foundation. This is a wholesale market in Indonesia. And all this waste is a consequence of the traditional supply chain. But why? Food passes from farmers to village traders, who then sell to wholesalers, who sell to distributors, who sell to retailers. This process can span a few days, as well as hundreds of kilometers.
The more layer, it will add you one more day. Receiving, sorting, packing, and then deliver. So if there is a 4 stop, means that additional 4 days.
More days means more time without proper cold storage, being passed from hand to hand and squished together in trucks.
Regarding very long transportation, there will be like 15 or 20% of damage.
They stack all the fruits like this. I'll show you really quickly. So you can imagine how the vegetables at the bottom of it, how damaged they might be. This is why every middleman always takes quite a big markup, because they also lose a certain amount. It's a fragmented sector, and most of the players are traditional. Almost 50% of the fresh produced in Indonesia is actually damaged.
Eco's solution? Why not shorten that long supply chain? In 2016, he set up TaniHub and later opened 5 warehouses in Bogor, Bandung, Yogyakarta, Surabaya, and Bali. Goods went straight from the farms to the warehouses, and from there, directly to customers.
We can transport the goods as soon as possible. The customer can get the vegetables in a fresh condition.
Mostly Indonesian fruits are tropical. We store it in the temperature of 18 to 22. There are local fruits that cannot be stored at those temperatures. So we have ambient temperature as well, 25, 28. We have also temperature, especially for leafy vegetables, around 8 degrees.
But there was still one problem. Fruits and vegetables were still coming to the warehouses damaged.
We are at our main processing center where we are having our machine to do the sorting of the fruits.
So last year, TaniHub built a processing and packing plant in Malang City, close to their fruit farmers, that helped reduce poor handling in human hands.
This is from the farm waiting for the process into our machine.
In the sorting machine, fruits are washed.
The brush unit you can see
dried, waxed, and sorted with minimal human touch.
Your hands sometimes produce sweat, right? And it will ruin the quality of the goods. We have 2 lines now. It will go through sorting camera that can take around 30 pictures of each fruit to see the blemish. We can separate the size. This is because of blemish. You can see tough blemish. This one will go to food industry and Horeca. Our policy is we are buying all grades. We are working closely with fruit stalls, food stalls, resellers, supermarkets, and big hypermarkets, as well as food industry.
Nah, ini adalah apel asli Malang. Jadi memang ini kita pilih karena ada asamnya di sana, tidak hanya manis tapi ada asam.
Malang strudel, they can buy apple that is not very smooth in skin, but because they are peeling it and they are taking the flesh only.
But what if there's an even simpler solution to the problem of food spoilage? This, a silk cocoon? Scientists at a research institute in Singapore are taking caterpillar cocoons and turning them into an edible food coating that stops food from rotting. Yup, water resistant and edible.
It makes a barrier. It is very thin, it is transparent, and the barrier is very good at keeping the water in and the oxygen out and the microorganism out. It lasts until you wash it away or you're eating it.
They're not the only ones thinking along these lines. Another group of scientists at the National University of Singapore have turned pineapple leaves into a low-cost aerogel that, when mixed with active carbon, can prevent food from rotting for 2 weeks. These types of technologies have huge possibilities for reducing loss in the food supply chain.
So we're thinking that this technology can have a big impact in the region where you don't have a cold chain, while it passes from one hand to the other or when exposed to bad weathers.
In the meantime, the TaniHub team has been encouraging farmers to adopt best practices.
We tell them that if you pile this is your rejection rate. In the end, will lower down the value of your product. But if you, for example, divide into 2 trips and all of the goods or the rejection rate become very low, it means that there is more chance for them to sell more.
But food spoilage isn't the only problem in the long supply chains. Farmers have very little to no contact with consumers, which means they don't know how much to produce to match the demands of customers. For farmers like Mr. Haryanto, that meant sometimes overproducing.
Biasanya pada saat luber, hampir 20% masih terbuang sia-sia untuk pupuk di lokasi.
We witness some farmers are throwing their crops to the river because they are being frustrated. They say that if I do the harvesting, the harvest cost is higher than my product goods. In helping to reduce food loss, we need to start from the beginning ya. Nah, kalau ini kapan ready panen? Minggu depan?
Minggu depan.
Ono piro, Mas?
Mungkin perkiraan hampir 10 tahun.
Bisa dibuat agak mundur seminggu apa 2 minggu enggak?
Bisa, bisa.
That's why TaniHub is seeking to bridge that gulf between farmers and customers by advising farmers on what and how much the market wants so that they can better match supply to demand.
Before working with us, they usually got only 50% absorbed in the market because of the quality and the specs that is not synced with what the market needs. Yeah. After working with us, the rate of acceptance is going more than 95%.
So when it comes to reducing the massive losses in the food supply chain, 2 things clearly help. Using innovative technology to prevent food from going bad quickly and minimizing the number of stages in the chain. And this is where we as consumers can help. But how? Start by buying local or, where possible, buy directly from farmers themselves. And if you're a business owner in F&B, you too can play a part. Try sourcing directly from farmers or, where possible, support businesses with good practices like S4S and TaniHub. It could go a long way in helping to change the industry for the better. In the next episode,
I call it the instant noodle city lifestyle. It's the start of the broken relationship with food.
so we're actually right on top of the shopping mall.
Can bringing back farming into our cities make us appreciate our food better?